अस्सलाम वालेकुम डियर स्टूडेंट्स। आज हम बात करेंगे लिम्बिक सिस्टम पर। नर्वस सिस्टम के कौन कौन से स्ट्रक्चर जो हैं ये लिम्बिक सिस्टम का हिस्सा है और उसके हम बेसिक जो इनके फंक्शन है उस पर आज हम बात करेंगे लिम्बिक सिस्टम के बारे में। सही है। तो लिम्बिक सिस्टम shortly also known as the emotional brain or also known as the motivational brain, because this limbic system, this is mostly concerned with the emotion of ourselves. That might be the sadness, that may be the happiness, that may be the anger, that may be the punishment, that may be the reward. So these all are, and all other more as well. But most commonly, we can simply say that the limbic system is all involved with the emotion. The word limbic, that mean the border or the margin. The limbic system, which is also known as the paleomammalian brain, is a complex set of brain structures located on the both sides of the thalamus, right under the cerebrum. And they, as they are present on the both sides of the thalamus, that's why they are known as the limbic. यानी ये मार्जिन दोनों थैलेमस की दोनों तरफ मार्जिन पर बॉर्डर में ये स्ट्रक्चर जो है प्रेजेंट। These are the group of subcortical. Subcortical structures mean below the cerebrum. Sub mean below and cortical से मुराद है cerebral cortex. So group of subcortical structures, and more the important one of these structures, that is the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, and the amygdala of the brain, that are concerned especially with the emotion, memory, and motivation, is known as the limbic system. So that is basically the definition of limbic system. So emotions, either they are the happiness, if they are the sadness, this is the anger, this is the punishment, this is the reward, anything which is related to the emotions, that is being the controlling of that is the function of the limbic system. So in this picture we can see here the limbic system is in action. Similarly here the limbic system is in supreme action. So motivation, it is another main function of the that limbic system. So that is the reason why the emotional, it is known as the emotional and motivational brain. The third most important action and function of the limbic system is the memory. We will discuss them in some other inshallah in lecture, that what are the types of memory, what are the short-term memory, intermediate-term memory, and the long-term memory, and from where they are controlled, where they are stored, and how they are retained, in which conditions they are in loss of memory. So let's talk about the different parts of the limbic system. Some of them they are very important, and some of them they are less important. Less important mean they have less action and importance in the overall function of the limbic system. So the amygdaloid complex, the hippocampus, which is also known as the seahorse, because the hippocampus, they resemble in shape like the seahorse. That's why the hippocampus is known as the seahorse. And the meaning of the hippocampus is also seahorse. So remember this word, that hippocampus is also known as the seahorse, and the hypothalamus. These three structures, the amygdaloid complex, the hippocampus, and the hypothalamus, they are the important structure of the limbic system. That's why they are being highlighted in this yellow color, while other structures which are listed in the upcoming bullets, they're also the part of the limbic system, but they are not so important and so not so active in action like the amygdaloid complex, hippocampus, and the hypothalamus. The other structures which are involved, which are considered as the part of the limbic system, this is the epithalamus, pineal body, the habenular nucleus, the stria medullaris, cingulate gyrus, epithelial lining of the roof of the third ventricle, the interior thalamic nuclei, and the midbrain reticular formation, parahippocampal gyrus, septal nuclei. This is actually the diagram which representing the limbic system. And here we can see here the cingulate gyrus, the septal nuclei, the hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus. These two. This is the hypothalamus. Similarly, we have also the hippocampus. Then the parahippocampal gyrus and anterior thalamic nuclei, the third ventricle, roof, and so these all are the parts of the limbic system, and they both are present on the both sides of the thalamus, and that's why they are known as the limbic system. So these are the structure of the limbic system, the components of the limbic system. This is the cingulate gyrus, which is the large gyrus present over the corpus callosum. This one, this purple color, okay? And this is the fornix. Then the interior thalamic nucleus. Remember this, that which thalamic nuclei is considered the part of the limbic system. So not the interior ventral or the interior posterior, the medial, lateral. Only the interior thalamic nucleus is considered as the part of the limbic system. The septal nucleus, the mammillary body, the hippocampus, the amygdaloid body, parahippocampal gyrus, the olfactory tract, and olfactory bulb. So these all are the considered as the components of the limbic system. The main afferent and efferent connection of the limbic system, they are summarized below, and they are known as the PAPIs or the Pepys circuit of the medial limbic circuit. And these circuit they run from the hippocampus formation to the fornix, and from the fornix towards the mammillary bodies, then towards the interior nucleus of thalamus, then the cingulate cortex, and back to the hippocampus. So this is actually the story of this Pepys circuit. As we discussed here, that it starts from the hippocampus formation. This is the hippocampus, and from the hippocampus, they move to the interior thalamic nuclei. You can see here to the interior nucleus of the thalamus through the fornix and mammillary bodies. This is the fornix, and from the mammillary body to the fornix, and from the fornix through the mammillary body to the interior thalamic nucleus. So hippocampus, the fornix, both the fornix crest, which is and the fornix body, and in the fornix column. These three are the part of the fornix column of the fornix, body of the fornix, and the crest of the fornix, the tail of the fornix. And then at the end there is mammillary body, and from the mammillary body, this is back to the interior thalamic nucleus, from the interior thalamic nucleus to the cingulate gyrus, and then through the cingulum back to the entorhinal cortex or in the hippocampal gyrus, and back to the hippocampus. And this circuit from the hippocampus toward the hippocampus, this is known as the Pepys circuit. So remember this sequence, this pathway, from the hippocampus to the interior thalamic nucleus through the fornix and mammillary body, and then from the thalamic nucleus to the cingulate gyrus, and cingulate gyrus, from the cingulate gyrus to the hippocampal gyrus through the cingulum, and then from the hippocampal gyrus back to the hippocampus. So this is the Pepys circuit, short, and from here we start from the hippocampus and through the fornix that reach to the mammillary body, and then from the mammillary body through the mammillothalamic tract. Why it is known as the mammillary tract? Because this tract start from the mammillary body and terminate in the interior nucleus of the thalamus. So that's why this is known as the mammillothalamic tract. And then from the interior nucleus of thalamus to the cingulate gyrus, and then through the cingulate gyrus back to the parahippocampus, and from the parahippocampus, parahippocampus gyrus towards the hippocampus. And this is known as the limbic circuit or the Pepys circuit. So the sequence of this is very important, very necessary. The fornix, the cingulum, and the mammalian tract. These are those sources through which uh, they circulate from one place to another. Function of the limbic system. All vegetative functions are controlled by the limbic system. What we mean by the vegetative function, all those functions which are not under our control, which are voluntary action, which are also known as the visceral function, like the hunger, like the appetite, like the sleep, the awakening, the anger, punishment, emotion. All these are the vegetative function. Feeding, chewing, and licking by the amygdala. Emotions, for example, the sweating, fear, papillary dilation by amygdala. Autonomic function, the heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate, these all are controlled by the limbic system. Rage and placidity. Rage, that simply means the extreme expression of anger. There is the piloerection, there is growling, biting, and clawing. And these are the characteristic of the extreme anger situation. Placidity is the opposite of the rage, which हम इसको कह सकते हैं ना कि वो ठंडे दिमाग वाला. So actually this is the placidity when there is the person who lack of that expression of anger, that is known as the placid person. So rage and placidity, the characteristic of rage are there is piloerection, growling, biting, and clawing, while this is the emotion state opposite of rage. Regulation of the biological rhythm, for example, the fluctuation in body temperature, urine volume, sodium, potassium, adrenal cortical function, they are controlled by the limbic system. The maternal behavior, the prolactin, lactation, etc., they all are controlled by the limbic system. And reward and punishment, they are also controlled by the limbic system. Hypothalamus represents less than 1% of the total brain mass. So it's very important to remember that uh, what is the total percentage of hypothalamus among the total brain. So this is 1%. It controls most of the vegetative and endocrine function of the body, and as well as many aspects of the emotional behavior. And if we consider as the hypothalamus the most important, the most crucial component of the limbic system, we will be not wrong, because this is actually the structure which controls the most vegetative function of the which is controlled by the limbic system. So the connection of hypothalamus, the hypothalamus has communicating pathways in three directions, um, downward to the brain system, mainly into the reticular areas of the midbrain, which is also known as the mesencephalon, the pons and the medulla. And these mesencephalon, pons, and medulla are combinedly known as the brainstem. So if someone asks you that what are the components of the brainstem, so this is the mesencephalon or the brainstem or the midbrain, the pons and medulla. The medulla oblongata, the pons and the midbrain, they are the combinedly known as the brainstem. So it means only the hindbrain, which is the part of the cerebellum, which is actually the part of the hindbrain, is not the part of the brainstem. Otherwise, all hindbrain is the part of the brainstem except cerebellum. The second connection of thalamus is upward in upward direction towards the higher areas of the cerebrum as well as the diencephalon. Diencephalon means the thalamus, epithalamus, the hypothalamus, the subthalamus, and especially to the anterior thalamus and the limbic cortex. The third direction, the communication of of that hypothalamus is into the infundibulum to control most of the secretory function of both the posterior and anterior pituitary glands. So now we will discuss what are the function of the hypothalamus, that is the control of water balance through the ADH secreted by the supraoptic nucleus, and by creating the sensation of thirst in body fluid osmolarity increases. Similarly, the control of the autonomic function, there is a specific center for this autonomic nervous system for both the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, and the hypothalamus. And these two center, the sympathetic center, they control the sympathetic actions, and the parasympathetic center control the action of the parasympathetic nervous system. Reproductive function control through the secretion of the gonadotropin releasing hormone, for example, the LHRH, which is known as the luteinizing hormone releasing hormone. Hypothalamus release this LHRH luteinizing hormone releasing hormone, and then LHRH will lead to the release of luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary gland, and that luteinizing hormone will then act on the in the ovarian cycle in the ovary, causing the luteinization. So the reproductive function that is controlled by those gonadotropin, the LHRH, the luteinizing hormone releasing hormone. Control of endocrine function. Uh, the hypothalamus controls the endocrine function through the hypothalamic releasing or inhibitory hormones and different factors. How the hypothalamus controls the emotion? So there is a specific center for the integration of complex autonomic and somatic reaction in the emotional state, and through that the hypothalamus that control the emotion. Metabolism is also controlled by the hypothalamus by simply activating the hunger or opposites of that hunger. So by control of food intake and by stopping up the food intake, it controls the metabolism. The control of sleep, there are two distinct and separate centers for the sleep and for the awakening. Remember this thing that the sleep center is interior nucleus and the waking center is posterior nucleus. Very important that interior nucleus just control the sleep and the posterior nucleus that control the awakening. The body weight is controlled by the hypothalamus as it controls the body weight through feeding center present in the lateral nucleus, causing increased food intake. Satiety center present in the intermediate nucleus. So remember this that here is the feeding center, here is the satiety center. They both are present in the hypothalamus in the natal nucleus of the hypothalamus, and the satiety center is present in the intermediate uh, nucleus of the hypothalamus. When the feeding center is activated, so it will lead to the increased food intake, and if there is suppression of this center, so they will be stopped in the their food intake. So satiety center and feeding center they work opposite of each other. Activation of feeding center will lead to the increase in food intake, while if the person's stomach is filled, then the satiety center will be activated, and hence there will be decrease in the food intake. And through these two, not only it controls the body weight, but it also controls the body metabolism. Control of temperature. It controls the body temperature by heat loss center in the present, which is present in the interior nucleus, and the heat gain center, which is present in the posterior nucleus of the hypothalamus. Control of the other visceral activities. It regulates the blood pressure, the rate of blood pressure, the force of heartbeat, the digestive tract motility, the rate and depth of breathing, and many other visceral actions. So these are some of the nuclei and their actions at both on the interior and posterior side. If we talk about the interior, so there is a nucleus known as the paraventricular nucleus, and that is being involved with the water conservation as well as the oxytocin release. The medial, this white one, the medial preoptic area, that is involved and being controlled the bladder contraction, and that decrease the heart rate and also decrease the blood pressure. This blue one, that is the posterior preoptic and anterior hypothalamic areas. It controls the body regulation, the panting, sweating, and the thyrotropin inhibition. This is the optic chiasm, which is actually the situated with the optic nerve. This green one, this is known as the supraoptic nucleus, and actually it is responsible for the release of the vasopressin. This is the infundibulum, which is actually a third connection of the hypothalamus was in the direction with the infundibulum. This blue one. This is the arcuate nucleus and the periventricular zone, and actually this area is concerned with the endocrine system control. This yellow one is the mammillary body, and this is actually the feeding reflex is present here. The feeding center is present there. The ventromedial nucleus, where the satiety center is involved, and also it have a control, small control over the neuroendocrine as well. The pericortical nucleus, that is associated this one, related with the hunger, with the increased blood pressure and rage. Similarly, this one, the posterior hypothalamus, that is involved with the pupillary dilation, the shivering, and increased blood pressure. And the center, the blue one, the dorsal-medial nucleus, that is actually involved. That is active. They will be increased in the motility of the food in the GIT as well as they will be increased in the secretion of that mucus from the GIT inner walls as well as there will be contraction of the smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract to increase the advanced movement of the that in uh, further movement distal movement of the that food in the GIT. So reward and punishment function of the limbic system. There are two different centers as we discussed earlier, uh, both for the reward and punishment. The reward center is located in the ventromedial nucleus of the hypothalamus, septum, amygdala, and basal ganglia. Uh, this reward center is somehow some connection in the midbrain and the basal tegmentum. So it means these babies, they in this case, when you touch their cake, so their rewards, their punishment center activated, their rage center activated, their limbic system activated, and now the next baby is feeding center is in action, so that's why he is eating the watermelon like a boss. Punishment center, it is located in the central gray area surrounding the aqueduct of the sylvius in the preventricular zone of the hypothalamus and the thalamus, as we discussed in the previous image picture of the that hypothalamus. Also, it is some the center is also present in the amygdala, in the hippocampus. The right center, it is located in that the lateral hypothalamus, specifically also in the periventricular zone of the hypothalamus. It is the emotional pattern that causes strong stimulation of the punishment center of the brain. Specifically, this red center is present in the periventricular zone of the hypothalamus or lateral hypothalamus. Red center is present in the posterior nucleus hypothalamus and cerebral cortex normally inhibited. Anorexia, the loss of appetite is called anorexia, causes the lesion in the lateral hypothalamus nucleus, which where the feeding center is located. And hyperegia, it simply means the overeating, that is called hyperegia. Causes the lesion in the ventromedial hypothalamic nucleus, which means the satiety center is actually lesioned. So it means there is no stop to the food intake, and the person uh, will be will execute the overeating again and again. As we can see here in the above picture, this is true overeating. How hypoglycemia that produce the hunger. So the satiety center that contains special receptors known as the glucoreceptor, and when there is decreased concentration, low concentration of glucose in the blood, which is known as the hypoglycemia. So in the case of hypoglycemia, they are not saturated properly, and hence they are activated. And this activation of this glucoreceptor, they identify and they detect this situation. If there is low glucose level in the blood, they activate the feeding center and the person feels hunger. What is the effect of insulin and the hunger? So insulin actually that is a hormone which convert the excess of glucose into the glucagon. So that insulin decrease the blood glucose level as it is converted into the glucagon. So it may lead towards the hypoglycemia, and through the above mechanism, it will increase the hunger. Function of the amygdala. The amygdala are two in number and they are almond-shaped masses of the neurons on either side of the thalamus of the lower end of the hippocampus. The amygdala is responsible for the perception of emotions like anger, fear, sadness, and as other factors as well as the controlling of these aggressions. So, what are the function of amygdala? Effects initiated from the amygdala and sent through the hypothalamus, mostly autonomic function, and direct stimulation of the amygdala result in several types of involuntary movements. The bilateral lesion of the amygdala, they are known as the Kluver-Bucy syndrome, and not afraid of anything. This person with such lesion in the both amygdala and the both side, if there is lesion in that, the person will be moving without any afraid. And even if there is a situation of such anxiety and situation, there is firing in all the direction, the person will be continue to walk in that without any fear. He will be not afraid of anything. Extreme curiosity about everything, and that's why he asks too many questions and such small phenomena, and each and everything he asks question. Why is that? What is that? Where is that? From where it came? How it came? So he just asks question. He has some extreme curiosity about everything, and he forgets repeatedly. Tendency to place everything in mouth and eating object. Oral tendencies. Hippocampus, which is having the resilience to the oceanic animal, the seahorse. That's why it is known as the hippocampus. The word hippocampus that means seahorse. Hippocampus and the adjacent temporal and the parietal structures that collectively make a structure known as the hippocampal formation. This formation has connection with the cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, septum, amygdala, limbic cortex, and mammillary bodies. The hippocampus is involved in the storage of the long-term memory, which includes all past knowledge and experience. So that's very important that the hippocampus is involved in the storage of long-term memory, short-term memory, or intermediate memory, or all type of memory. So remember this: the hippocampus is involved in the storage of the long-term memory. Memory loss is when there is damage to the hippocampal portion, so there may be a memory loss. That was the end of today's presentation. I think there will be no such question. Each and everything will be clear. If you have any question regarding this presentation, you may ask me later. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.